Detroit is the greatest!
Straight up light you on fire for a Coney dog right now.
Darren McCarty comes back with Neiman in front of him. McCarty draws. McCarty in. McCarty scores! A magnificent goal! Darren McCarty!
Stafford takes, throws, end zone, Calvin, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
In the air, left field! The Tigers march to the World Series!
Motor City! Motor City! Motor City Sports Rant, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. I'm Vinny Stubbs. Sitting across from me is the king, Jason Jarvi.
How's it going, Vinny?
Really good. It's really warm outside.
It is. It's beautiful outside.
I can't stand it. It's so nice.
I was at the station all day yesterday.
Oh, that's got to be awful.
And when I went outside, it was a little brisk in the morning. I had my coat, but I knew that it was going to be 70 when I walked out there. And I was so happy.
We deserve this. You think it's funny?
It is funny.
We went through hell.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it was as bad as last year. I think,
No,
I
it
think
was colder,
Boston had
man.
it worse than us.
I think it was good for them. I hope so.
Dun, dun, dun. Breaking news, everybody. The Chicago Bears took running back Jeremy Langford, Michigan State.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, awesome.
Now I'm really scared. Look at that.
On that note,
Macaroon killing it.
the Lions, it's draft week. And to begin this off, Laken Tomlinson, All-American guard from Duke University.
You see, right there. You see,
What, Vinny? Tell me. What are you feeling right now?
I don't know.
Use your words.
Why?
More than one word.
I don't know what to say anymore. It's not a bad pick. It's not a great pick. It's not fancy, but I don't care about that. Stafford needs protection. But why would you get rid of your pick, get Manny Ramirez, who is already a guard, and not address the defensive tackle?
I think this brings up a ton of depth. Laken Tomlinson hasn't given up a sack in over 2 years. And that's going up against guys
So
like...
why Manny Ramirez?
It's going up against... It gives us depth. We haven't had depth in years. I mean,
They still don't.
Last year when
They have depth.
when Larry Warford and Adrian Waddle, when they were getting hurt, are you telling me that we wouldn't have loved to have a guy like Manny Ramirez to come in and provide some sort of stability?
You know, it took Martin Mayhew 6 years to do this, but he's finally got two gentlemen on the roster that were a part of the 08 season.
I like this pick. It's not the sexy
It
pick.
takes a lot of work to do that.
This isn't the sexy pick, but I don't really think there's a slam dunk pick out there. I think everybody
Brown.
and their mother thought Malcolm Brown because
Eddie Golden.
He was there.
Theo Gridiron.
But, you know, that also brings up questions. Why weren't other people taking Malcolm Brown? So I think Laken Tomlinson, he's definitely, he's probably the smartest guy in the room now.
Yeah,
I mean, he's going to have conversations with Matt Stafford. And
I like the fact that he's a leader. I really do like that. I don't like the fact that he's from ACC and they drafted Eric Ebron last year.
well, he's had to go up against guys like your Eddie Goldman. He also had to go up against Aaron Donald, who was last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
So I think he's immediately going to start.
Yeah.
And you're going to have Warford on one side and you're going to have Tomlinson on the other.
That's cool.
And you're going to have room in the middle.
I knew it wasn't going to be a sexy pick. I'm just really bummed out. I didn't even know who the guy was.
You know
and he
who
wears God's Cheerless, his old number, so I'm kind of upset.
You know
about
who also was looking at Laken Tomlinson?
The Patriots.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're a smart drafting team.
Yes, they are.
They also took Malcolm Brown. So I think either way, I think we would have been good.
I mean, you got Manny Ramirez. You draft the defensive tackle, man, because Tyron Walker, no, absolutely not.
I don't think we didn't need to draft our best defensive tackle with the first round pick because we already have like a number one defensive tackle with Haloti Ngata.
Right.
So I think we can pick up that second guy or a rotational guy in these 4th through 7th rounds.
Yep. Laken Tomlinson. What are the guys the truth, right?
Yeah.
So you got Reef, Warford, and Tomlinson. Stafford's got a lot of protection now, right?
Yeah, he does.
But you see how hard their schedule is?
They're going to need all the help that they can get.
Okay, and if Stafford doesn't do it this year with that protection, if Tomlinson pans out and he's what he's supposed to be, and Stafford goes 7-9, 8-8, what do you do? Like, seriously, what do you do? I mean, how many games did the Lions have on national television? 6? Last time they did that was 2012, right? They went 10-6. They went 4-12. we're going to be exploited. I mean, on national TV, it's going to be embarrassing. It could be embarrassing.
I mean, you're right. This really is the year. In past drafts and free agency, we've been getting weapons for Stafford, and now we finally have protection for him. And it really, there's going to be no more excuses, because the excuse last year was that, he didn't have protection. And there's not going to be anything for him to say if he doesn't do good. It's make or break. And I think if we do have a 7-9 or 8 year, we're probably looking at trying to find somebody to come in and really compete with them.
Why is Martin Mayhew always taking chances with guys that have problems? Ebron drops the ball. Amir Abdullah, he has fumbling issues, right? But they took a chance on the guy.
Amir Abdullah, Nebraska.
Why do they keep taking chances on these guys that fumble, can't catch? Why are you doing this? I don't care about flash, man.
I'll give you 2 reasons why he probably is taking a chance on him. 1,600 yards each of the past 2 years in Nebraska.
The guy's a fumbling machine.
In a huge defensive Big Ten.
We'll see.
And 19 touchdowns last year.
Can you imagine how many times he's going to fumble getting hit by professional athletes? Monsters.
What if he fixes
monsters.
That? Fumbling is something that you can fix.
How? No, you can't. I don't see you coaching that.
By the end of the year, I think it's going to be Abdullah and Bell as the top 2 backs.
So Theo Riddick was another wasted pick. And then Amir Abdullah, 2 years down the line, that will be a wasted pick. And then your boy Carter will be a wasted pick.
So yeah, let's talk about Alex Carter.
What's up with Nevin Lawson?
Cornerback from Stanford.
What's up with Dwight Bill Bentley? I mean, you're just fumbling all over the board.
No doubt that Bill Bentley.
I can't trust this draft.
Bill Bentley's definitely a bad pick.
I can't trust the rest of it. I can't. I'm disgusted with the second and third. I'm disgusted.
You don't like Alex Carter?
Serious. I'm not even joking around. I'm really disgusted.
You don't like him as a big physical corner?
What's that?
Alex Carter. You don't like his size? I think he brings...
No, that's fine. There's question marks because Martin Mayhew was a cornerback, right?
There's question marks on everybody who's drafted.
And he can't draft his own position that he played for the Redskins his whole life?
I don't think there's nobody that you've...
That position.
There's nobody that any team has drafted this year that doesn't have a question mark.
I understand
because
that.
Anybody can either blow up or they can have a horrible season. So we have to give it time. I think it's too early to say that this is a failed draft. Like you said, there's chances, and I think there's good and there's bad chances.
Lions don't win these national games, make the playoffs. Mayhew's gone, right? And Luan, gone. Right?
I'm not sure about Luan because I don't think he...
Brian Zanders takes the spot.
I think Mayhew may be gone. I mean, Luan, he doesn't really deal with personnel. He doesn't deal with coaching personnel, drafting people. I think Mayhew definitely, though.
This Carter guy better pan out because Mathis is old. You lost Sue and Fairley, so it gives the quarterback more time to get rid of the ball.
I think
your secondary and your linebacking core is going to get exposed.
One good thing about Alex Carter, though, is that he's a big physical guy, and he has the possibility to transition to a safety.
I'm upset. You got Manny Ramirez. You go ahead and draft Malcolm Brown or Eddie Goldman to go next to, and Walker can be your backup. He could add depth to the defensive line. They're getting away from that, and when you get away from that, you're giving the quarterback more time to expose your secondary, and it's not good. The secondary is very suspect, and Terrell Austin did a great job his first year. But it's because he had Sue, dude, and Fairley, and they're gone. I mean, Fairley didn't do that great this year. I understand that. But you had Sue. He had 8.5 sacks. The guy was an absolute monster. He's gone. And now the quarterback's going to have at least 0.5 of a second to get rid of the ball, more than what he had the year before. And you're going to expose that secondary. They're very suspect. It's paper thin. I'm glad they drafted this guy, but who knows? He runs a 4.5, 40, big, tall, physical, whatever. He's going to compete with Mathis.
Yeah.
What if this guy can't even? What if Mathis starts over him in week 1? That's not good.
He may start because he's a 3rd-round guy. I mean, and we brought Mathis back for a reason. And this is what I said. I think Mathis he's going to be grooming his replacement. And I think by the end of the year, you'll probably see more of Alex Carter than Rasheem Mathis.
I think he should start week 1.
I don't give him the job right away just because we drafted him. Because you need to earn your spot. And Mayhew has said that. You need to earn your spot. I'm not going to just give it to a guy and hope and let him fail his first game out.
Mayhew better be right on this or you're fired.
So we're going into day 3 of draft. I mean, obviously the biggest need that they haven't addressed yet is defensive tackle.
What is going on here?
And my thing is you didn't need to draft your best defensive tackle in the 1st or 2nd round. Because I think there's a lot of defensive tackles in this draft. And what you're really looking for is a guy who can be a part of this rotation and really contribute.
They're putting a lot of trust in that Terrell Austin guy. I hope he's the real deal. I really do.
I think also what you want to look at look at more offensive tackles because you have Reef and you have a couple question marks over on the right side of the tackle. You got Adrian Waddle.
Not good.
You got Corey Lucas.
Not good.
And I think you'll probably see them
They have to literally strike oil on accident. They literally have to take a shot in the dark and hit. They don't hit, they're done. They got to hit, man. They need a right tackle big time. If they mess up, this is it. I'm sorry.
So what were some of your biggest surprises that you saw in the first round outside of the Lions?
I don't know. Mariota not going to Philadelphia, really. I thought he was going to go there. I honestly don't care about Mariota, but every day I'm looking at my news feed and Mariota, Philadelphia. I'm like, okay, well, Mariota's going to Philadelphia.
And word is that the Titans turned down almost a king's ransom for that pick. It sounded like they were giving up their first round this year, their first round next year, another like second round pick, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Boykins.
Mm-hmm. What?
And they turned that down
For Mariota.
So now they have Mariota.
I hope
they already
terrible.
have Mettenberger. It makes for
Mettenberger is so good.
It makes for a good matchup week 1 in the NFL season, though, because you got Tampa Bay versus Tennessee.
Listen, Jameis Winston's going to throw like 30 interceptions his first year. Literally going to throw 30 interceptions.
It's possible that he could be throwing 30 touchdowns, though.
I hope he does good.
He has good receivers. He's got Vincent Jackson. He's got Mike Evans there. And they had a good – Mike Evans had a good year with nobody at quarterback.
Big gamble on Jameis Winston, man. They really
I think
did.
you're going to see him succeed and succeed early.
No way.
I'm not saying that they're going to go to the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they went 8-8 this year.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went 4-12.
But I think some of the other surprises that you saw in this draft, I think a lot of people saw Brandon Scherf, the offensive tackle from Iowa, fall like to the 10 or the teens. But he went number 5 to the Redskins, which at first it looks surprising. But when the Redskins picked up Griffin's option, they're trying to be a little bit serious about keeping that knee healthy. Another guy that you look at, or another team that was really surprising, is the Browns.
Cameron Irvin.
It's that they didn't make dumb picks.
That was a good pick. I like the pick.
Yeah, they had Danny Shelton with their first one, and they got Cameron Irving with their second first round
I
pick.
hope they lose every game.
Everybody thought you would have figured that they would have taken one of those dumb picks. Like they would have taken Brashad Perriman. They would have taken Melvin Gordon.
Absolutely.
And those would have been classic Browns picks.
That would have been classic Lions picks.
Yeah. But they went and they picked smart picks. Mm-hmm. I still don't like the Browns, but I like their offensive and defensive line.
The Browns are never going to do anything.
My biggest surprise, though, is Todd Gurley going to the Rams.
Yeah. All those running backs?
They had Zach Stacy and Trey Mason already. And I think both of those guys were pretty surprised that they drafted him. I think Zach Stacy came out and he tweeted out, "Yikes." And I think, the next day, Schefter reported that he's asked for a trade.
Yes.
So from these first 3 rounds, who do you see as the rookies of the year?
Offense.
On the offensive side?
Oh, my boy Nelson Aguilar that you told me about.
Oh, yeah. I have him, too. I really think he's going to...
We got Matthews, Huff, Ertz.
He automatically comes
Aguilar.
in. I think Aguilar is the number 2 already.
If Bradford stays healthy and bombs that ball down the field, it's lights out.
I think he'll also contribute in the return game, too.
Yes, absolutely.
On the defensive side, I'd have to go with Vic Beasley with the Falcons.
The linebacker.
Yeah. And I think they're just going to put him on the outside, and he's going to be rushing the quarterback. He's going up against Breeze, Jameis Winston, and Cam Newton. All those guys, aside from Cam Newton, they got mobility issues. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to have a ton of sacks. He's going to have a bunch of tackles for losses. I think he'll be the defensive rookie of the year this year. Him and Dante Fowler, I think, are going to be huge.
I'm not sure about the defense. Malcolm Brown, maybe? I know one thing, and they're going to be Alex Carter. Christ almighty. So what is your overall grade for the first 3 picks? I got a B for the first round, the other 2 C.
I'd give it a B across the board.
First round, across the board.
For if you take all the picks and put them together, I give them a B because I think it's not sexy, they're not great people, but I think it's what we need.
I guess the Samir Abdullah guy is compared to Darren Sproles, but he's a fumble machine.
I think that fits exactly into what Joe Lombardi wants to do, though.
What does he want to do? Not their offense at times looked worse than Scott Linehan's.
Yeah, but Scott Linehan's offense hey, Stafford, go out there, throw the ball as far as you can.
I remember watching.
Get your receivers killed.
I remember watching Linehan, and I just watched. I literally knew what they were doing every play. That's how bad Linehan got in Detroit.
Yeah, because first down, they'd run it up the middle. Second down, they'd run it to the right.
At times
third
last
down, they'd
year, they looked
to...
stale. They looked worse than that, especially running the ball. They can't run the ball. So I like Tomlinson, and hopefully this, for the Lion fans, this Abdullah guy is the truth. What does that say about Theo Riddick?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think, I don't know.
I look, I'm not pissed and I'm not happy. I'm just saying this is Martin Mayhew's make or break year, and I think he's going to miss. I think it's going to be the running back and Alex Carter are both going to be busts. I don't know why. I just feel it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Yeah. When we come back, we got some Tiger talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to talk some Red Wings later in the show. Obviously, we got length or girth.
We got to do it. It's a gorgeous thing, length or girth. And the Get Laid Bar of the Week, Motor City Sports Rant, DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Doc here for DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Please visit our website, click through those banner links, help support our network here so that we can continue to provide great content twice a week. Motor City Sports Rant with Jason Jarvi and Vinny Stubbs, Doc and Jock with Adam the Jock Straczynski and John McAroon.
Killing it.
We love providing great sports content here at the Detroit Sports Podcast Network, and the best way to help support us is to go to our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Free and easy way to help us continue to provide great content for the great people here in Detroit. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Check it out.
Motor City Sports Rant, DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Let's have some Tiger talk, Vinny.
Your boy Jarvy's going to break it down because I've had enough.
You're so sad, Vinny. You're always so sad and you're pessimistic. They're only 1.5 games back right now.
Oh, that's it?
The scary thing, though...
They'll be fine. Their bullpen's really
We
good.
underestimated the Royals' bullpen.
I underestimated them as a whole.
I don't think we underestimated them whole. I think the bullpen is... they've carried them through games.
Let me say this right now. You said last week that we both dogged the Royals out before the season started. No, I did not. Remember before our show started on the Motor City Sports Rant, and we came in to introduce ourselves on their show?
You initially were like, oh, no, the Royals are so good. And then we're like...
he goes, oh, they lost this guy. I'm like, oh, can I kind of take that back?
So you took it back.
I did take it back. Damn it.
So we underestimated them.
Yeah, I did.
I don't believe their offense. They've lost huge games, the last two to the Royals.
It doesn't matter, man. They bought into a system, and it's really starting to take off, and it's scaring the hell out of me. Please start losing. Start losing.
They've run up the score on our number 4 and 5 pitchers. I'm not worried about that. If they come out today against David Price and they score 8 runs, then I start to get worried.
If they didn't add that extra playoff game, I'd be really biting my nails right now.
I really don't see a reason to panic right now.
Why not? They lost 2 straight. They're 4-6 in the last 10 games.
So the season's over? Is there how many games left are there? Anybody? Are there still over 100 games?
15-9.
Then I'm not going to panic.
That's 24 games. So yeah.
Oh no,
like 140 left.
Oh dude, the season's over, right?
Pretty much.
Oh man.
Oh
darn.
my god. Exactamundo.
My only worry right now is Justin Verlander.
Listen, Jason, look at me right now. As a human being, look at me, please. I love you. Justin Verlander's done.
He's not. He's done.
Finished, dude. You're not going to see him anymore. He's done.
You're just ridiculous.
He's done.
He's cleared for some more light tossing, and I think right now the best case scenario is that he comes back by June. And I really do believe that we need JV
by June.
We need JV here pitching.
Yeah,
if we're going to win.
We're not going to get him.
And I'd feel good though if he comes back in June. He's fully healthy because
and he gives up 8 runs in 1 inning, preferably the first.
Because if we do get him back at that point, it's like getting a top pitcher at the trade deadline. Dude. Now I want you to stop being.
They need to get.
I want you to stop being so pessimistic about the Tigers.
They need to get off.
I want you to tell me how they're going to win. Because all you've been saying is that they're going to lose.
At the All-Star break, they need to add depth to the bullpen, dude.
So who are we giving up to get that?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I have no idea. We got to wait till July.
Do we part ways with one of our best assets, JD Martinez?
No. Rajay Davis. Rajay Davis is a monster.
I like Rajay Davis. I like Anthony Gose. Which one of those guys do you keep?
I keep Gose because we have a huge outfield. and he can cover all that ground. Rajay Davis has got a lot of power. That's what sucks.
I think it's definitely not fun to talk about. I know I bring it up when we first came on the Doc and Jock show.
Let's trade Castellanos,
about
but
talking
Rajay Davis at third.
about trading Tatar with the Wings. Why not think about trading JD Martinez?
Because the guy is an absolute monster, first of all. Second of all, he's an absolute monster.
He's been a monster for a year in 20 games.
But the guy has been a monster for a year and 20 games.
So that doesn't translate to...
The guy is absolutely vicious.
So you
he is going to exceed my expectations.
There's no way that we...
I gave the guy a 285 batting average with like 15 home runs. He's dominating out there. You can't get rid of him. Houston fumbled. We capitalized. Capiche?
So what if we had the possibility, though, to get a bullpen arm who could go 2-3 innings and give you awesome work, but they want JD Martinez?
No, too bad. Nope. No.
So
listen.
So you'd sacrifice the bullpen for hitting.
Well, they added another playoff game, right? So even if the Tigers don't win the division, they'll have a good enough record to get in. All 4 of your starters pitch 8 innings and then bring in Soria. Unless you can get rid of Rajay Davis for a nice piece. Castellanos, I don't know. But if they didn't have that extra playoff game, I'd be scared. I would entertain the idea of getting rid of JD Martinez, yes, but you have that extra playoff game. So I think the Tigers' record will be good enough to get in. As it stands, I don't know because their starters have to at least pitch 6 2/3 of an inning.
But those starters don't include Justin Verlander.
No. I think JV's going to come in and he's going to look like garbage and he's going to be gone. He's done. I really think he's done. If he wasn't done, wouldn't he already be in?
He's hurt right now.
What's wrong with him?
He's got
He's on a 15 DL. Where is he? I don't even remember who he is. I forgot what he looked like.
So what else is going around the Major League Baseball?
There's some surprises. Ridiculous surprises.
Mets
are 16-8. They look really good, and it's really scary and crazy. I don't see that lasting. Vegas had them at 500. Remember 81-81, and I said they're going to struggle. I was wrong on that. And Houston Astros 16-7.
That's the big surprise.
We both defecated on Houston at the same time.
They're horrible.
Yes,
but
they're
apparently
16-7. I don't see that lasting. Cubs are 13-8. Next year, the Cubs are going to be very dominant. Very dominant.
I think Joe Madden might be one of those coaches, though, who he always gets them to the playoffs but never succeeds.
He's the Rick Carlisle of the MLB.
All right, let's talk about. Let's go to a little bit sadder news. We're going to bring John in to kind of give us a little bit of help on the commentary. We're going to talk some Red Wings. They lost a horrible Game 7.
I'm not going to get in this because I know you guys are both really pissed off about this. I'm going to say this right now. You got to rebuild. You're going into the first round of the playoffs every year.
No, Vinny, hang out. That's good. Okay, why do you want them to rebuild?
Because they're not going anywhere.
Where do you who
I don't know.
You see?
I don't know. All
right, we'll talk about that a little bit.
You got to clean house, start over. Even if that means not making the playoffs for the next 2 years, you got to start over.
First off, it starts at the top. Mike Babcock.
Gone. He's going to Toronto.
He's not going to Toronto.
Yes, he is, man. Yes, he is.
Him and Brendan Shanahan hate each other.
I don't care. Oh, do they really? Then he's going to the Rangers, okay? He's not staying in Detroit. He's not staying in Detroit. They got to rebuild, and everyone knows it.
Babcock. Is he gone or is he not? I think it
gone.
I think it depends on what he wants. I think if he wants to win and continue winning,
then he'll leave.
He's gonna stay.
What is he
here.
Gonna win? A playoff game?
He's gonna stay
going
here
anywhere.
because
the message is stale. The guy's a dickhead.
He's not going to go to Toronto because Toronto's definitely a rebuilding team. He's not going to go to Buffalo. He's not going to go to Edmonton.
I'm out.
The only possible team that he goes to if he wants to win is Pittsburgh. Okay. But Pittsburgh has already said that they're not letting go of their coach. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but he stays if he wants to win. If he wants a challenge, then yeah, he's probably gone because it's already proven that we can get to the playoffs here. If he wants that challenge, I would go to Edmonton because I think they have a lot of young guys. They got the first pick in the draft this year with that Connor McDavid, who didn't Wayne Gretzky call him like the best prospect that he's seen in a while. So I mean, what do you think, John?
Vinny has a valid point, and I know that Vinny, doesn't keep track of hockey all that much.
Yes,
but,
I do. That's a total lie.
Vinny has a good point. Mike Babcock has been here for 10 years, okay? And now since 2009, we haven't advanced past the second round. And Detroit is known as a team that should be a Stanley Cup contender. But right now, the Wings are in a transition phase. They've got some older veterans, and you have to look at it like this. He's using the chance to leverage himself, to be a free agent, to get the most money. But if he looks around the landscape and he looks at the best opportunity, it's in Detroit. 100+ points numerous times. You have arguably two of the best 10 prospects in the entire NHL. You have a potentially NHL caliber, world-class goaltender in Peter Mrazek. You have a backup. I know it's going to be a struggle to keep a goaltender making $5+ million on your bench. Mike Babcock is going to get north of $4 million a year. He wants to be the highest paid coach in the NHL. He's already come out and said he doesn't want to be a general manager. He doesn't need that headache.
Why does he want the money, though?
Why? Because
why do you want to be the highest paid coach?
It's an ego thing because Joel Quenneville is making $2.75 million, and Mike Babcock's not making making that much money. He's the best coach in the entire NHL, arguably. This is a guy that's gotten a Stanley Cup, that took a team to the finals of the Stanley Cup, and a team that shifted from veterans to a young team 2 seasons ago and got them to the playoffs. You think it's something to poo-poo that this team has made the playoffs 24 years in a row? Come on now. This guy, last season, over 400 games lost to injury. The team still made the playoffs. And now you could say, well, lots of guys have tuned him out. No, they haven't. This guy is a guy that is well-respected and is a guy that can get the most out of these players. Now you're going to have a new wave of players coming in. Mike Babcock, I believe, when all is said and done and he reviews all the offers, he's going to be a Red Wing.
Jarvi, get his ass.
I don't think money has anything to do with it because I think the Red Wings.
Then why didn't he sign? He's got security. He's been here 10 years. Why last year when the offer's on the table?
Because he wants to focus on winning, and that's what he said. Is that he's not focused on his contract. He wants to get in there. He wants to. They have a task at hand. And his main focus is winning. And yeah, he's come out. He said he has no interest at all in being a GM. He wants to be a coach. He wants to be on the ice. And
that's just what he says.
Money has no. It's not going to be a deciding factor. And Ken Holland came out and he said that look at Mike Ilitch, and he's always stepped up to the plate when it comes to money. And if money were a factor, I think the Red Wings would match whatever anybody wanted to give Mike Babcock. I also think Mike Babcock is going to be a Red Wing because you don't have any reason why Mike Babcock is going to leave.
That's what I love.
So you get to say nothing.
Listen to the girthy one. Jason Jarvi.
I'll stand by it that if he really is looking for a challenge, he probably goes to Edmonton. But I think the guy wants to win. He's a competitor. And he stays with Detroit.
John's freezing up.
What are you talking about? I agree 100%. Detroit is the best location for him. His family's been here. He's laid roots here. His kids have gone to school here 10 years. Why wouldn't he stay in Detroit? But at the same time, the reason why he did not sign the contract is he's going to be a free agent. He's going to be courted. He's going to see what the market brings him, as he should.
I'll tell you what's going to...
No, he's not going to leave somewhere else because of the money. No, he's going to look around the landscape and see which teams have the most talent, things like that. But he is going to come out of this one of the highest paid coaches in the NHL.
I'll tell you
for
what
sure.
Will have a bigger deciding factor over money. It's going to be his wife. And his wife loves Northville.
Come on, that's too technical.
It is what it is. His wife, they've lived here for 10 years. They have friends. They have a daughter who's going to U of M, and he's going to be here. So let's move on down the line. Mike Babcock, he's probably going to be here next year. He might not. Let's say if he does leave, I think we're going to be fine. I hope they bring in Blashill from Grand Rapids. I mean, he'd be the obvious choice. He's seen all these guys that are coming up to the big leagues, and I think he'll just continue. They want to call their cup, so it would be interesting. I think when Mike Babcock does want to hang it up and stop coaching,
he'll hang it up in Toronto,
and Blashill will be the guy to replace him.
All right. But
let's move down to the players. You definitely saw some drop off in the guys. I mean, some of the older players, you don't want to talk about it, but Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg, they looked old this series.
Oh, yeah. I said it on the Doc and Jock podcast. If you looked at it all year, around the time of the All-Star break, Zetterberg looked a step slow. And he's a captain. And to be a minus player in the playoffs, the first playoff series he had where he didn't score a goal, he's a leader on the team and he didn't produce. And for a team to collapse like that in a significant playoff game, that game where they blew the 2-goal lead late, really, while it didn't affect them, immediately the next game, you could tell you don't recover from giving up a 2-goal lead late in a third period playoff game.
But they won the next game.
They won the next game, but at the same time, you had a chance to go up 3-1, and you didn't. You ended up having a Game 7, which in any Game 7, 1 goal can decide it, and that's what happened.
And that's what it was. So do you think there's any realistic chance that Pavel Datsyuk or Henrik Zetterberg aren't wearing the winged wheel next season?
Ooh, a good question. I think they're going to be there next year. I mean, I don't think the Red Wings are the type to broom aside their star players. But what they're going to do is
the same road they're on.
No, what they should do is limit their ice time and continue to bring up younger players. Now, everyone that's talking is saying Mantha and Dylan Larkin aren't going to be on the roster next year.
Good point, Kaz.
Yep, and they're still going to they're going to need to just what they need to address is the defense. The defense was a significant letdown towards the end of the season and in this series versus Tampa Bay. You know, Eriksson doesn't play as big as he is, and he said that he had a foot injury playing soccer and warming up for the playoffs. That's ridiculous, right? Warming up playing soccer, you break your toe or significantly injure yourself. Okay, and you know, I think you're going to need to really address that defense. Zidlichky's 38 years old. He's an older player. You're going to need to, kind of pick. You're going to need some significant defensemen that are going to help this team.
Jarvi's
Yeah,
pissed.
I definitely think Cronwall, he's barely a top 4 defenseman. I think DeKaiser, he's your number 1 defenseman right now. And I think he's the guy you got to build around. And I think that really it's the biggest need this year in free agency is getting a top 2 defenseman. And I think there's a couple guys out there. You got Christian Ehrhoff in Pittsburgh, Francois Beauchemin in Anaheim, even though that guy's he's right up there with Marek Zidlicky. But I think the two guys that you really need to look at are Cody Franzen, who was traded to Nashville, or Mike Green from Washington. I like Franzen. He's young. I think he's got a right-handed shot, and I think he would be a great pair with Danny DeKaiser on that top line or in a power play line. You get DeKaiser and you get Cody Franzen up there. Mike Green, and there's no doubt about his offensive prowess. He may be lacking a little bit on the defensive side, but of those 4 guys I listed, you have to at least get one of those guys. And if you don't get one of those guys, I think you have to start looking for Holland's replacement, because Babcock isn't really the issue right now. I think we aren't getting players, and some of that might be because players bump heads and they don't want to be coached by a coach who pushes you.
It's time to move on. It's time to rebuild. It's time to move on. Your message is stale.
Okay, and
I love Babcock.
That's something I wanted to bring up, is play devil's advocate. The Red Wings have been eliminated, and the Red Wings are one of the elite franchises in the NHL. You could argue and say, hey, if Blashill was here, you could go out in the first round of the playoffs with a new head coach. Should the Red Wings consider the possibility of moving on from Mike Babcock?
Yes.
And just, you know what? Part ways. Thank you for the 10 years of service. And you know what? Let's start a new path with head coach Blashill, because you know what? We said it. You've said it. Going into this season, this wasn't a Stanley Cup team. We got out in the first round now 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
This team, I think, could have done a little bit more. In my opinion, I'm weighing. I haven't set a firm stance yet, but I am considering now. Okay, the Red Wings, year in, year out, we're known as a team that could do some damage.
Because they're spending money now. It's on the Tigers.
And no, there's a salary cap, Vinny. It's a salary cap, so you have to be more creative in who you bring in.
Ken Holland's too afraid to get rid of Babcock.
I'm not as upset at the possibility of maybe replacing Babcock.
So I think there's players on the team that I want to see gone. I think there's no way that you bring Dan Cleary back next year.
Dan
that guy
gone.
needs to be gone. Stephen Weiss, I mean, I'd like to see him gone too. He's been here 2 years. He's been plagued with injuries, and he's a waste of a roster spot. I think Franzen, Johan Franzen, the guy that, do you remember that guy?
Who's that?
Exactly. I think that guy's got to retire. He's got to do what's right for him, because he's talking about he wasn't able to get out of bed for a month because of his
How do you know
concussion
all this
problems.
Stuff?
Because I read,
You're
Vinny.
a genius.
I'm not a genius.
Look at you.
I'm only slightly smarter than you.
Everybody in the planet's smarter than me.
Now, Vinny, we have to pay attention to players that have a big-time contract and are making a lot of money, and year after year they're not
like
playing.
Jimmy Howard?
Yeah, they're not. Good point. They're not
You
playing.
see the hole.
They're not playing 40 games, and so yeah, definitely. Franzen had a setback as late as last week, tries to go and skate, and he's still having headaches. And he's still, ideally the franchise wants him to come back 100% next year. It's just not happening.
Gun to your head. Babcock gone.
He's not gone.
Gun to my head? No, he's still here. He's the head
Gone.
coach next year.
You're wrong.
Now I want to ask you, though, Jason, on Friday, the Red Wings have the year-end wrap-up, and it comes out in reports that they refuse to name Mrazek the starting goaltender next year. I saw that, and I said, you want Jimmy Howard to compete with Peter Mrazek? How are you going to rate that? I mean, you saw it.
They're both terrible.
Let's just say this. Did Peter Mrazek do a good enough job, in your mind, sitting here now,
Yes.
to make him the starter of the
Yes,
Detroit Red
because their
Wings?
defense is terrible. That's it.
He gave him a chance.
He did. I mean, he was, and I can't disagree with you, because watching those games, I mean, as early as game 1, I would have said that if Howard was in net, there's no way that we win that game. And yeah, he kept us in the majority of those playoff games. So I get it, because Jimmy Howard is making so much money. He is a veteran. He had a pretty good year up until when he got hurt. I think it's going to be a show. I mean, that's all it's really going to be. And I think part of what's going to decide the goaltender is going to be who's the coach. I think if Babcock's here, you definitely have that competition. It's going to be a situation like when Boston had Tuukka Rask and Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas was the agent guy who was still performing, and Tuukka Rask was the guy that was coming up. I think that's what we're going to see. I think Peter Mrazek will eventually win that job, and if we make it a 25th year into the playoffs, Mrazek will be the guy who starts for us.
25th.
Well, I think if we have Jeff Blashill, though, if he's the coach, I think Peter Mrazek is named goaltender immediately.
See, now this is where you have issues. Let's say, for example, like what happened this year. Howard and Mrazek didn't, by all accounts, win the job outright. So let's say you go into next year and they're playing about the same. They're both giving up, let's say around 1 or 2 goals in the preseason. Who then would you name the starter? If they're even, let's say they go into the preseason next year and they play even. Then what do you do? I mean, because Mrazek, I believe, gives this team a better chance to win night in and night out. He earned the job in the series versus Tampa Bay. He played well. He gave him a chance to win. And I just think that going forward, you want this guy to continue to develop, and you want this guy in net night in, night out, because he has the ability to shut teams out, shut out the highest scoring team in the NHL twice. And now if you can find any creative way to move Jimmy Howard, pick up another defenseman, you have an asset. And I just hope this contract that we gave Howard doesn't hinder us. And I know they're saying that now because Howard's on the roster, but I'm still crossing my fingers that somehow, some way, by the start of training camp next year, Howard's not on this team.
I mean, I'd love to see that too, and I'd love for them to be able to trade Howard and get a quality either defenseman or somebody who's going to help us score goals. I just don't see it happening. We have no leverage. Everybody knows we got Mrazek, and we're looking to get Howard. There's no way that somebody's just going to take his contract off of our hands. So I think you'll probably see both of them on the roster next year.
So as this season, the 2014-2015 version of the Red Wings, would you consider the season a success? How would you rate this season? Kronwall came out and said it's a wasted season. We were playing well. That big hit forced Kronwall out of Game 7. Zidlichki had the concussion issues. How would you rate the 2015 season? Success, failure, kind of another progression in these young players?
I would rate it. I mean, I'd either give it a failure, because you got to win a playoff game. 7 of the 10 years that Babcock has been here, they haven't made it out of the second round of the playoffs. So it's a failure. You got to make it to at least the conference finals to look at it as any kind of success. So I either rate it a failure or an incomplete, because what happens if Kronwall isn't hurt? What happens if Franzen isn't hurt? What if we had those guys? There's a lot of what ifs, but what ifs don't give you wins. They don't give you more goals. They don't win you game 7s. So it's a failure.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. This Red Wing team has a wealth of young players, and they need to step up when it counts most, and that's in the playoffs.
Yeah, Babcock said it. He said it in his end of year interview that back in 2002, when we had just a ton of Hall of Famers on our roster, and we were starting to go through that transition, we had Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg and Nick Kronwall come in and pick it up for the team. And they started carrying the team for the legends, Steve Yzerman, Brendan Shanahan. And that's what we need to see from Tater and Gustav Nyquist and eventually Anthony Mantha. Those guys, we need to see those guys, and they're going to have to start performing.
Yeah, and then the other thing is this. It's like they are making the transition to be a younger team, but they're not going full bore. Pulkkinen, by all accounts, should have been on the playoff roster.
Definitely.
Pulkkinen needed to be playing versus Tampa Bay. You have him playing in Grand Rapids. The guy was, what, over 25 goals. Great player. And he's not on the playoff. Okay, listen, that's what led to my thinking into just play Mrazek. You're not going to win the Stanley Cup. That's why 12 of 12 analysts at ESPN said, hey, we're not picking the Red Wings to beat Tampa Bay. Just go full force. Give them the experience. Go young. And in 3-4 years, I think based on the expectations, in 3 to 4 years, I think this organization, if they commit to youth and they continue to develop young players, add significant pieces, should be in contention to win the Stanley Cup within 3 years. I really believe that. Keep Mrazek in there, bring up more young players, and let's go. I think we can do it. I don't think we want to wait on hold and continue to have these young guys, marinate in Grand Rapids when they can just come up here. We can tolerate 1 or 2 more early playoff exits as long as it brings us a Stanley Cup in the future.
So regardless of who we have next year, are we going to look at 25 years straight going to the playoffs next year, or is it going to be the end of the streak?
No, I believe fully that it's very tough, though. Can you imagine 95-plus points, and we barely got in? We only earned the right to go to the playoffs with like 2 or 3 games left. The Eastern Conference is no joke, but I fully believe that the playoff streak will continue. Mrazek's great. I think Holland knows what pieces to put in here, and I'm confident that we'll at least make the playoffs. I just think that we need to now think about how do we progress deeper into the playoffs. It's going to be tough. It's going to be absolutely tough.
I agree. I definitely see a 25th year next year. Hopefully we can make it past the first round. But when we come back, we'll look at the big fight tonight. We definitely got length or girth. I'm sure Vinny has some more commentary. But we'll be back with that on the Motor City Sports Rant, DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Yes, sir, Jason. You see, these guys provide great content. To follow Jason on Twitter, follow him at Jarvi the King. You can follow Vinny and hear his great sports takes at Vinny Stubbs. You can follow our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast. Follow us on social media. You can like our Facebook page. It's a great way to interact with several Detroit fans during the key games, during the draft. We have lots of, Adam on Twitter at Adam R. Strauss. You can find him giving strong opinions. Our Twitter page at Detroit Podcast, one of the most interactive sports pages around town. We don't block very many people. We retweet a lot of the comments because we enjoy bantering back and forth. Whatever your opinion is, we will listen to it. At Detroit Podcast on Twitter, give us a follow.
Let's talk about the big fight that's happening today. It's a pretty epic fight, right?
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao.
Oh, yes.
You want to hear the tape?
Yes, I do.
Floyd Mayweather comes at 146 pounds. Mm-hmm. He's 38 years old.
Hate you.
5'8". He has a 72-inch reach.
2-inch wiener.
And he is 47-0.
Totally hate you.
Manny Pacquiao comes in at 145 pounds.
Love you.
36 years old. He's 2 years younger.
8-inch wiener.
He has a 67-inch reach.
Yes.
He is 57, 5, and 2. Mm-hmm. And he's a southpaw.
Love you.
So, who do you like in this fight?
It's hands down Mayweather's going to beat the hell out of him.
Why do you think he's going to
Vegas wants to make it interesting. I'll have him go 10 rounds, but they'll give it to Mayweather. Man, Vegas has got their hands all over this, don't they?
I'm a big fan of Pacquiao. I like what he does, but it's hard to bet against Floyd Mayweather.
Waited until he was old, man. Mayweather, you are such a bitch for that.
But Mayweather's old, too. He's 2 years older.
He's in way better shape than Pacquiao is.
So who do you think wins this?
Mayweather in 5.
Mayweather in 5?
Yeah.
I think I predicted earlier I was going to go Pacquiao, and I still think Pacquiao's going to win. I think he's a faster opponent, and I don't think Mayweather being a bigger guy is going to help him out. And The other reason why I like Manny Pacquiao, the dude's a southpaw. You
like
know who
Pacquiao
else?
to win.
You know who else was a southpaw?
Mike Tyson.
Rocky Balboa.
He was.
Rocky Balboa never loses.
He lost in part 1.
Yeah, but then he came back and then he won.
Yes, he did.
And he lost in that dumb, stupid Rocky Balboa movie.
Absolutely, yes, he did.
John,
So he lost twice.
Who do you think's going to win this
What
fight?
an awful call, Jason.
You got to go Mayweather. He's gonna
to go Mayweather.
He's gonna. You know why? You have to go with guys who are a little bit shifty.
Oh my God, cuz.
And he's a guy that knows how to defend. And I just think that he waited for the exact right moment.
Yes, he did.
He waited, and that's
He's
why.
a bitch.
That's why I can't put him as the pound for pound best fighter. He ducked the best fighter of his generation until he was past his prime.
Yep.
Bad. It's just for his legacy. You could tell he ducked him and waited until he felt it was the right time to pounce, and he's going to take the victory.
You want to put a wager on this? Since both of you guys think Mayweather is going to win, and I think Pacquiao.
$20.
Let's not do money.
$20. What
What about lunch? How about lunch for next week?
Where are we gonna go?
Well, no, whoever like if
Jimmy
I win,
John's.
if I win, I'll bring you guys in a sub of your choice.
Okay.
If
You're gonna
I
be
win,
bankrupt.
you guys are gonna bring me 2 subs or 1
Deal.
sub
Watch.
each.
Deal.
One
Ooh.
sub each.
I'm in. We're
I'm
getting
in.
free lunch
I'm
next week,
in,
Vinny.
dude.
We're getting free lunch.
Okay.
What if it's a draw? We win?
No, if there's a draw, that's it. It's a squash. Draw bet. Nothing changes hands.
I like this. I think I'm gonna have 2 subs next week.
Oh my God.
So where are you guys watching the fight? What are you guys doing? You guys going to plan to go to a bar or drop the 100 bones to watch it?
I don't have $100 to waste on a fight. I'd love to watch it. But
Exactly.
I'd love to watch it, but I'm not dropping that kind of money to see it. I'll catch the highlights on ESPN.
I'm gonna watch it at Joey Barraso's house.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think he's having the fight.
Yeah, no, I'm going on a double date with the wife, and then we're going to go to someone's house and watch the fight.
Ooh, a nice little night.
Nice little night.
Maybe you go to Home Depot or something. I don't know if you have enough time.
Oh my God, cuz breaking news, cuz. Mike Babcock just took a breath of oxygen. Back to you, cuz.
Back to you, Vinny.
Oh my God, a vast array of vehicles. You can listen, please download our podcast. Please help support us. Podomatic, Stitcher. You can go on Pod FM, iTunes. It's greatly appreciated. We'll continue to bring you great sports content. Once again, that's DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Cuz, thank you. DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Oh, that's such a good impression, Vinny.
Good job, John.
But also, I will give you an update. The Lions, they do have their 4th round pick.
Go.
I have no idea who it is, but it's Gabe Wright, defensive tackle from Auburn. So we were right. It is a defensive tackle that they address.
We'll see. They needed a defensive tackle.
So
It adds dub.
I think with that, though, I think we're going to go into
What's his name?
the Gabe Wright
He just sounds terrible. His
Well-
name's Gabe. Cut him.
already.
You got a Lakin and a Gabe. It's time to stop.
I think with that news, though, I think it's time, Vinny. It's time for length.
Or girth. Length or girth. I believe this is the 10th edition.
Yep.
Roman numeral X. Jarvi. Question
Yes.
1. Your boy, Lakin Tomlinson. His tenure with the Lions. Length or girth.
You got to do length. I think the guy's smart. He's going to be a leader for the locker room. He's going to be, I think he'll be, within 3 years, he's going to be an all-pro, possibly a Pro Bowl pick.
Oh my God.
The guy's going to be here. He'll be the next, he's going to be the standard for our
Doesn't
defensive
stop.
line.
It doesn't
for our
stop with
offensive
you guys.
line.
It doesn't stop.
So I'm guessing you have girth.
I got length, but I don't see him being an all-star pro athlete, ridiculous, great, automatic Stitcher human being.
Well, I have the butter is warm at my house.
You got to stop
And
rolling
it's
around in
heating
it.
up.
You're just dousing your
I
whole
love
body.
it. I love the butter.
My goodness gracious. Length, I think that he's going to be a great addition to the line. I don't think he's going to be a Pro Bowler by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe. We'll see. Jarvi, second question on length or girth. Amir Abdullah, his fumbling issues and his ridiculous ways at running back. He fumbles a lot in the NCAA, and now he's in the NFL. Jarvi, fumbling, length, or girth?
I'll give you 2 scenarios here. I really do believe that he fixes it.
No.
And that I really think that it's going to be girth. That
You
he'll,
do.
He'll fix it. It's going to be a really tight leash, though. I think if he doesn't fix it, you'll see, and it is length. I mean, we have Theo Riddick then,
got Brian Calhoun,
who I think is a serviceable running back.
I'm gonna go length. The guy's gonna be a fumbling machine. He's gonna cost the Lions a lot of games. Those games where they're down and where they have 4 comebacks, they're gonna do like a screen pass to that guy. He's gonna fumble the ball. Ebron's gonna drop a lot of balls. My life's over. Jarvi, the king. Question number 3.
Number 3
on the 10th edition of A Length or Girth.
Number 10.
Absolutely. Rasheed Mathis at cornerback. Is your boy Alex, what's his last name? Carter. Is he going to take the spot, or is Rasheed come on, dude, length or girth?
I'm going to go length for this year.
No.
Length for this year.
Bad draft pick.
Because Alex Carter, he's going to be...
You're arguing
He's going to switch in. He'll be switching in with Rasheed Mathis. I think he's going to learn. And I think by next year, he'll be the starter. But for this year, length.
I go Girth. Slay and Carter. And if it's not Girth, Martin Mayhew, you're fired. Absolutely. Because that'll be like the 80th cornerback that you fumbled on. And there's no more fumbles allowed in my life for the Detroit Lions.
No fumbles.
That was it for the 10th edition of Length or Girth. Ha ha! Yes! That was great.
That was good.
Jarvi killing it. That was the most professional podcast I've ever done.
Well, I think you got one. I think this may actually be one of your more favorite times of the podcast.
Right now.
Yes.
It is. It is the Get Laid Bar of the Week. The Get Laid Bar of the Week. Brought to you by John Macaroon and the greatness of Laurel Park Studios. Jarvi, are you ready?
I'm on the edge of my seat, Vinny.
You are.
I am.
I can see. It's nerve-wracking. Everyone wants to know. I don't blame you. It's the Bench Pub in Livonia on 5 Mile and Farmington. When you're in the mood.
Nice area.
Absolutely. Look at me. Absolutely. Jim Price. When you're in the mood for good food, times, and great cuisine, be sure to check out the Bench Pub. The restaurant is located on 5 Mile and Farmington in the area's most pleasant settings and known for its delightful staff and superb food. There's a substantial amount of gash. I mean, there's gash up the wazoo. At the Bench Pub, 3-to-1 woman to dude ratio. The Bench Pub is located on 5 Mile and Farmington, Livonia. We love you. And not your wiener's not in my hands, but your wiener is in good hands at the Bench Pub in Livonia. So take care of business. Motor City Sports Rant, DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Good stuff, Vinny.
Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap up.
Don't you dare edit this.
No, listen, Vinny.
You had your time to be professional on this podcast, and it's my time to destroy it.
Exactly.
You're going to take it.
No, this is perfect. Now, before we end, guys, I was thinking, Vinny and I were chatting just a little bit before you got here, Jason.
Okay.
And Vinny was kind of saying to me, listen, we're doing this podcast this way. I feel like I have a lot to say. And you know how on some sports shows you see they have their parting shot. So I want to introduce a chance for you, Vinny, at the end of every podcast, if you want, to take a load off. Just have your parting shot, say whatever you want, get it off your mind. And you know what? Here, so this is going to be the first premiere edition of Vinny taking a load off.
Let me go take a load off.
Listen, I'm so sick and tired of the Detroit Lions and their ridiculous drafting ways. I'm sick and tired of everybody giving them a pass. When Jim Leyland was here, the guy was crucified every single year. The guy went to pennants, World Series. He never won a World Series, but the guy was dominant. Jim Schwartz could do no wrong. Matt Stafford could still do no wrong. They give the guy weapons up the wazoo. I mean, what do you need? You're protected now. You got 2 guards. You got 3 guards. You need a right tackle. You're not going to get one. Okay, whatever. Stafford, you got more than enough weapons. I'm so sick and tired of this every single year. You went 11-5. You fumbled it twice on the last drive of the game, in the playoff game. No excuse. Brandon Pettigrew, whatever, he sucks. Why would you throw it to him? Why was Golden Tate not in there? I'm pissed. I'm furious. Really, I am. Look at me when I'm talking, both of you. I'm sick and tired of it. The Lions, I'm sick and tired of it. You're 6 nationally televised games, right? Okay. They're going to go like 1-5. And they're going to finish the season on 7-9. I know I predicted them to go 10-6. I don't know why I did that. I hope they go 10-6. But if they don't, maybe you're gone. Lawan, you're gone. Maybe Brian Sanders. I don't know. You got to stop. I'm sick and tired of everybody. I'm sick and tired of the Lions getting a pass. Where the hell did this segment come from?
How do you respond to that, Jason?
That was good. That was some of the best. Rants that I've heard from you.
I'm just tired of it.
No, the reason this segment came about was because I want you to feel like you can say whatever's on your mind in any way you want. So this is your chance at the end of every podcast to just take a load off and feel better, because you know how it is.
It's going to be the same load every week.
Listen,
it's the Lions. I'm tired of it.
Listen, I'll help you out. I don't want you to ever feel backed up. You know, when you are in a relationship and you're not having a
poop, Vinny.
You know, I feel like the last couple of weeks you've been backed up. So I've given you a chance every week just take a load off, feel better, feel that relief, and that's what I do for you here at the podcast.
No, I was missing.
Let me go take a load off.
Yeah, there
That's
you
your
go.
chance.
I was missing Jason. Jason did it with his brother. Then I did it with Miles, and me and him came back. It was 45 minutes long. I'm pissed off.
There you go.
I've been doing a terrible job. I'm sorry, Jason.
It's okay, Vinny.
I love you. Wrap it up.
So next week we'll take a look at what the Lions ended up with
5, 6, and 7
at the end in the end of the draft, and hopefully Mike Babcock. We have a little bit more insight to him.
No, he's gone.
Maybe the Tigers. Hopefully they're closer to first place and not farther away.
500.
But that'll do it.
For the Motor City Sports Rant, DetroitSportsPodcast.com.
Okay, nice, idiot. You. Bye-bye.
Good day, sir. I said good day.
All right. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Loser.